j'espère que vous allez bien. Alors aujourd'hui, on continue avec le conditionnel qu'on a commencé et c'est sur page 166 de votre livre. So good, hello everyone. So today we're going to continue on with the conditional. I think this is possibly my 8th time recording this video because things keep happening, so fingers crossed it will work this time. So the last time we were looking at the conditional and we were looking at how to conjugate the conditional. So it is simply the future stem and the imperfect ending. Okay, so I didn't get too many questions on that, so hopefully you're okay with it. What we're going to look at today is when we use this conditional tense. We need this now because we need it for questions like, if you were the principal, what would you do or what would you change in the school? What would you like to do next year? So that's why we're doing it now. So what we're looking at when we're using the conditional and other tenses, as we'll see in a minute, is we're looking at these things called C clauses. Okay, now there's going to be lots of different things throughout this lesson that are going to sound really confusing at first, but stick with it. Jot down any questions you have as we're going through it. And then if they're not answered over the course of the video, ask me them. I'm really not going to have time to do this again in 6th year. So you have to make sure that you have it right this time. And if you don't understand it or you're not following along, you have to let me know. Either ask me a question or tell me what part you don't understand and we can look at how we can do it again or explain it in a different way. Now, before we go on to how to actually use them, make sure that you've corrected how to conjugate them. I have the answers to the last lot's worth of work up on your Edmodo, so check them. And if you don't understand why something you wrote is wrong, you need to ask me, okay? And it's very easily solved and cleared up then. Okay, so we're looking at using C clauses today, and within that we'll be looking at using the conditional as well. So the conditional in French is commonly used with a si clause. Now the word si just means if. And a clause is a fancy way of saying a sentence or a part of a sentence. So what it means is sentences that contain the word if. Okay, a C clause is a sentence that has the word if in it, really. Okay, obviously we can have sentences that use if that are not C clauses. You'll see what they look like in a minute. Okay, they're conditions that are dependent on each other. Okay, so an if clause in English. So it indicates possibilities that may or may not occur. Now, there are actually 2 types of C clauses in French. And this is actually really nice and really easy because there are generally 2 types in English as well. And they work the exact same way. So you can literally translate straight from English into French. So it actually makes it really, really easy. So the 2 main types, there are others, but for our Leaving Cert, all we need are the 2 main types, which are C plus the present plus the future, and C plus the imperfect plus the conditional. Now, again, that sounds a little bit confusing, but we're going to take them one at a time and go through them, and they're actually fine, especially because they're just like the English. Okay, so we're going to start with the first one, which is C plus present plus future. So what this means is you have the word C, which means if. Linked with that C is the present tense. And then in the other part of the sentence, you have the future. So C plus present plus future, C present future. So if that helps you when you're writing your notes, okay? So this construction is used for events that are likely to take place. The present tense follows the C clause as it is the situation that is required before the other action in the future can occur. Now, that sounds complicated, but if you look at the example, it's lovely. If the weather is nice, we will go to the beach. If the weather is nice, we will go to the beach. So I'm looking for C plus the present plus the future. If, that's C. The weather is, that's the present tense. We will go to the beach, that is the future tense. So you'll see those over here. S'il fait beau, nous irons à la plage. Si, that's the if. Fait is how you say the weather is nice, isn't it? You say il fait beau, you don't actually use être. So that's our present tense for that one. Nous irons à la plage, future. Okay? So what it means by a clause, that if the weather is nice, that's a clause. It's part of a sentence. We will go to the beach. That's the second clause in that sentence. It's the second part of it. So what you'll notice is that C plus present has to go together in the one clause, and then future goes in the other clause. So even like putting a bracket or something around that might help, and then put the future separate. You'll see what I mean now in this one. I will call you if I have time. So I will call you is future, and then if I have time, there's your see, and there's your present tense. Because really you can do this either way around. In English or French, it works the exact same. So I could say, I will call you if I have the time, which is like that, future, see, present. Or I could say, if I have the time, I will call you, in which case it's more like this one up here. It would be see, present, future. So just think about it. I will call you if I have the time. If I have the time, I will call you. They're the exact same. You've just switched around the clauses, but that's fine. But what you need to remember is the if and the present tense have to go together. So you can put the future at the start, but you can't put the if with the future. If I will call you, I have time. No, that doesn't work, does it? Okay. So just keep the if with the present and keep the future separate. You see it's the same here. She will buy the skirt if she has enough money. So you have the future part, and then you have the if and the present coming together. If, see, and then has is the present tense there. And if we go over here, you'll see elle achètera la jupe si elle a assez d'argent. So elle achètera, she will buy the skirt if she has enough money. Okay, so you can see them there together. If plus the present, they're going together, and then the other part, the future. So if the weather is nice, we will go to the beach. If I have the time, I will call you. If she has enough money, she will buy the skirt. There's loads of them you can do, and it works just like English. So you have your if, then you put in whatever subject you need, that's fine, and then it's present tense. Just when you get to the verb, it's present tense. Then the next bit, it's in the future, and that's just like English. Okay, so hopefully that's all right. Now, the second kind of one works in the same way. It's see plus the imparfait plus the conditional. So you can see they have SIC here, see, imparfait, conditional. So just like before, the see and the imparfait have to stay together. Okay, that's your first clause, and the conditional goes into the other one. And again, it's just like English. So this construction is used for events that are unlikely to take place. The imparfait tense follows the see clause, as it is the situation that is required before the other action in the conditional could occur. So things like, if you told me the truth, I would believe you. So if you told, we're in the past here now, aren't we? And we don't ever use the past composé for this. It's always imparfait. So if you told me the truth, I would believe you. Okay? So if, si. Tu me disais, you told me. Okay? Told in the imparfait is like this, because in the imparfait you go to the nu, you take off the ONS, and you add in your ending. In this case, it's your tu ending, which is AIS. So si tu me disais la vérité, je te croirais. I would believe you. So I would believe you. Would believe, we talked about this yesterday. You can't put the word would into French, okay? Would believe. It's the believe that becomes the would and becomes the conditional. Okay, so I would believe, those two words are inquiry. I would believe you. Si je gagnais au loto, je partirais en vacances au Caraïbes. So if I won, see, and then one is the imparfait. I would go, I just put go into the conditional. So si je gagnais, if I won, past tense, imparfait, the lotto. Je partirais, I would go or I would leave on holidays to the Caribbean. So would leave, all in that one word. Finally, I would buy a nice car if I had the money. J'achèterais une belle voiture si j'avais assez d'argent. So a conditional question that we could have in our oral. So you won't always be asked a conditional question. Generally speaking, if you are, it's a good sign. It means that you're going for high grades if they think that you're able for conditional questions. Typical ones would be, what would you do if you were the principal of this school? What would you do if you won the lotto? What would you do if you were the Minister of Education? Although that's a less popular one these days. Something like that, okay? Don't rely on them to ask you a conditional question. Try to get it in yourself anyway. Do you know, if you're describing your school, you could just put in there, I'm not happy with this. If I was the principal, I would. So that question, you don't need to write it down for now. We'll do that in a different class, but just to give you an idea, that person would be: si vous étiez directrice de cette école, qu'est-ce que vous feriez? Okay, what would you do? Qu'est-ce que vous feriez? And you would say, si j'étais, if I was. Si j'étais directrice de cette école. And then you would say, je ferais, j'achèterais. It actually sounds like the future, which makes it very, very handy. You can't hear the difference, okay? But you can see the difference when it's wrote, and we obviously have to write for our leaving cert as well, so we need to be careful there. So girls, what I'm going to ask you to do is to spend the rest of this hour going over this. Any questions, ask me. Then I want you to try this exercise down here. This is C plus the present plus the future. Okay, so you do that exercise. So they're all C, you can see your C's there. Then you have the present, then you have the future. Then on the next page, I want you to do this one. So this is your ones with the C on perfect conditional. So we can see that the C has been put over here on some of them, and the C has been put over here on some of them. So whatever clause, whatever part of the sentence the C is in, the en parfait has to go in that part. And then the conditional goes in the other part. Okay, like we talked about before. So I want you to try that exercise as well. So that's what you have to do in this, okay? Want to see that work going. Please give me a little bit of feedback, like a comment or an email or something. Just let me know how you're getting on with this, okay? So those two exercises you have to do, go over them, and any questions, just ask. You can post them under this post on Edmodo, and that way everyone can see the answer, or you can send me an email. Now, just so you know, I'm uploading 2 other documents that might help you. One is this one. This is very handy. It might be a little bit much for now, but definitely in the future and in 6th year, it'll be really useful. Even when we're doing opinion pieces and you're like looking for solutions, we're talking about the things we should do to protect the environment or things like that. So it goes over the conditional in general and tells you how to form the conditional here. So you have your stems and you have your endings and things like that. If you want to say I should, you just use these plus the infinitive. I should is je devrais infinitive. So I should do my homework. Je devrais faire mes devoirs. I could is je pourrais plus the infinitive. So I could go to the shop. Je pourrais aller au magasin. If you want to say I would like or whatever, you use je voudrais and the infinitive. So I would like to go swimming. Je voudrais nager. Okay, or something along the lines of that. For all the other kind of things, when you want to just say I would, you just put the verb straight into the conditional. So I would have, you just put have into the conditional. I would go, you just put go into the conditional. Okay, and it becomes one word instead of 2. You have some sentence starters here, like if I had money, if I had the opportunity, if I had time. Now these are all C plus en parfait, so what would the next clause be in? C plus en parfait leads to the conditional, okay, which is what this sheet is. There's all these things of how to say I would like to whatever, I should whatever, and then I would, and you can see that for I would, you're just putting the verb straight into the conditional. Okay, so it's a really handy sheet if you want to spend some time on that or print it out or anything. The last sheet I'm putting up is this one. This is just extra if you want some practice. So there's 3 exercises here based off this C plus present plus future, C plus en parfait plus conditional. So they're the ones here. So you have to look at the sentence and you have to figure out which one it's supposed to be. Now how you'll do that is by looking at the verb. So this is a present tense, I can tell by looking at it. So I know I'm going to have to put the future in here. This is en parfait, you can see the difference. So I know I'm going to have to put the conditional in here. So you can do a little bit of practice there. Some of the numbers are missing, they're not in order because I used to actually do the 3rd one, but we are not going to try to do the 3rd one, and actually you just don't need it for your leaving cert really at all. I only ever did it because it was fun, because it's hard in English, to be honest, and we're not going to do it for now. We might do it sometime in the future, but we're definitely not going to worry about it for now. So that's just why there's some missing, because I took out the 3rd one. So these are there, and I'm going to put up the answers at the bottom of the page, so you can literally check back. And then again, if you're writing them in and they're not matching up and you don't know why, you can just ask me. Here's some ones. It says complétez les phrases suivantes, and you have an example. So you have the start of the sentence and you to finish it off whatever way you want. So par contre, on the other hand, s'il fait beau, if the weather is nice, we will whatever, future tense. And you can finish that whatever way you want. If you want to do those, you can send them on to me and I will correct them. That's no problem. And then the last one, again, is harder again, because this is actually straight English into French, okay? So if I were rich, I would buy a house. So if I were rich, that is the imparfait. And then this I would buy is the conditional. So you have to put this all into French. Now again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the answers down there at the bottom. They're actually already there. And you can just check them. And again, if you don't understand why something is the way it is, you can just ask me. Okay, so those last two sheets, they're very much optional. They're a little bit of extra help. I will try to give you study slots now and again, and you could always do that in a study slot if you wanted. But if you want to do it now, it'd be great for you. But I'm not going to make you do it. Concentrate on the notes, those two exercises, and have them done for the next slot where I will put up the answers. Any questions at all? As always, just send me an email, and the very best of luck, girls. Bonne chance.